Hello and welcome to Journey Mappers Podcast, the official podcast of the OU Pledge and sponsored by the Oakland University Credit Union. I'm Ian Cawley, Director of Career and Life Design in the School of Business here at Oakland University. And today I've got a wonderful guest talking to me about her story and sharing advice for students and alumni that are looking to enter the field of finance. Megan Larson is the Managing Partner for True Vista Wealth Advisors in Troy, Michigan. Thank you for joining us today, Megan.
Thank you so much for having me, Ian. I'm really looking forward to talking to you today.
So, Megan, let's start with your story. How did you first find your way into the world of finance?
So it started like when I was very young. My dad was a financial advisor and started around when I was 5 or so. And so I was his very first employee, at least that's what I like to say. So I would go in and I would help him pick which people to call, and I would draw on the dry erase board. And I felt like I was very important. So I was fascinated from a very young age. And then in college, I decided that I was absolutely in no way, shape, or form ever going to be in the world of finance because that's what my dad did, and I wanted to do my own thing. But then I graduated in 2008, and it was a very difficult time to find a job. And so he offered to have me come back until I could venture into what I had gotten my degree in. And I remembered how much I actually love finance and the personal relationships, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow. So that was probably before the Bring Your Child to Work Day era, right?
Correct. Yes.
Very cool.
Yes.
Very cool. How about what might have inspired that shift toward entrepreneurship? Obviously, you're an entrepreneur, owning and running your own business, leading with values when you began working with your family's company, True Vista Wealth Management.
So I'm a partner in the company, and the idea of being my own boss and the idea of being able to not only control my destiny, but be a part of something that was started before me, that I have the opportunity to buy into and continue on and then pass on to other generations is very inspiring. And values are very important. So at our company, and then also me personally, it's family, integrity, and meaningful work in that order. And so being able every day to lead my team, myself, work with clients, and focus on those values is very rewarding.
Awesome. Very good. So, Megan, thinking back to your college years, what challenges did you face finding your direction, and what kinds of resources or mentorship did you have or perhaps wish you had to navigate at that stage?
Sure. So I went to a big university that will remain unnamed. And in terms of the challenges, trying to figure out what I wanted to do and understanding where my passions would align with an actual viable career. So it would have been really great to have something like the Achieve program or a lot of the mentorship that Oakland offers, which we did not have. So I had one brief 30-minute meeting with a counselor around my degree, and that was about it. So mentorship would have been great, and hands-on training with faculty or how to get ready for the real world would have been really helpful.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. Lots changed these days, right? Let's say the demands and what students and even parents of their adult children are looking for these days as far as ROI from colleges and universities. So let's dig into AI as a topic. I know that's a big one. We can talk a bit about innovation and maybe even the human side of finance. There's so much conversation around AI overall, but also in finance right now. Can you tell us what excites you about it, and what do you think might never even be replaced when we think about technology?
Absolutely. So AI is something I'm really passionate and also a little hesitant about, I think, in equal measure. I think artificial intelligence is going to create amazing efficiencies. So maybe a lot of the work and the technical aspects of my world or just the business world in general are going to be able to be handled by AI. And that's going to free up the rest of us to focus on things like building relationships, getting personal. A computer is never going to be able to replace that. An algorithm could demonstrate empathy, but it's never going to feel sincere. And particularly in wealth management and personal finance, that's the real ticket with a client, is being able to get to know them on a personal level and truly care about them, because you're going on a journey with them. And a computer is not going to be able to demonstrate truthfully, sincerely, that kind of passion to help them succeed.
Okay, thank you. You've also said, I believe, that using AI can actually help us be more human.
Yes.
You've touched a little bit on it already, but tell us more about what that looks like in your world.
Sure. So I think AI will handle a lot of things like portfolio selection and whatnot, or and at least start for us, and then a human aspect can look at it and make sure that that makes sense. But to be more human, then I don't have to worry so much about a lot of that kind of thing. I don't have to worry about how to draft an email or what are the algorithms that I need to look at for X, Y, or Z. I can sit across from a client and really get to know them and take the time. Things like paperwork or some of the more menial tasks, the computer will do. But where I'm going to shine is being able to really dig deep with somebody and know them as a person. And I'm not worried about, okay, I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this. It's just about a conversation, getting to know it, and then using the technology on the back end to help align with what we talked about to help them accomplish their goals.
All right, thank you. Yeah, that's very important, and nice to hear the human side of the discussion when it comes to AI. So thank you for that.
And I think a cautionary tale, though, is we have to make sure you stay human. You don't want it to do the things that make you unique. And so I think it's really important. You can have it draft an email, but you always have to make sure, I think, with AI, that you're putting still your own flavor, your own personality into it, or else you could actually lose the human side.
Golden Grizzlies, earn more and stand out. Whether you're restocking your fridge or fueling up for your next road trip, make your everyday purchases count with OU Credit Union. The Visa Signature Credit Card gives you perks with every swipe. 3% cash back on groceries, 2% on gas, travel, and university purchases, and 1% on everything else. Plus, with its sleek black grizz design, you'll show off your OU pride every time you swipe. Learn more and apply today at oucreditunion.org/visa.
How about a little sidebar here?
Sure.
When you talk about that human element or what you bring to the table, what might be one differentiator when you're working with your clients that is unique to you?
Sure. I would say unique to my entire team. The catchphrase right now is holistic financial planning. Everybody says it. We like to use more a panoramic view. And so when we're getting personal with people, we'll use the technology to give them the best that there is to offer, but then we're really going to take the time to get to know them. And it's not just about their portfolio. We do everything from marriage counseling to celebrating a child being born to going to graduation parties. We're planning for everything for them. We call it cradle to grave. And it's all about who are they, what's important, how do we take all those assets that they've been working so hard to save and align them to what's most important in the short, mid, and long term. And then the other part that I think is really unique is we focus a lot too on health and well-being, because it's not just about getting to goal, it's about being healthy and well to enjoy it throughout the whole course of your life. And we found that a lot of folks are living longer. Technology, medicine, AI is helping with that, but they're not necessarily living better. And so we do a focus with all of our clients on how can they work together with us, with their physicians, with their families to ensure that they are actually also living better.
Okay, I like that panoramic too.
Yes.
Obviously, holistic is a word, but I like panoramic.
Yes.
Let's talk about leadership, confidence, and even women in business. You know, we've got women in business and mentorship right in the School of Business, so I love this topic. As a young managing partner in what might be a more traditionally male field, how have you built credibility and confidence along your leadership journey?
So through some mistakes and some successes, I would say as a woman, being confident and knowing that I have a place at the table, and just knowing that, and not trying to prove anything, not trying to have too loud of a voice or too quiet of a voice, just being myself and knowing that what I have to say matters and is valuable, and the feedback that I get is going to only help me be better. And so I've always really focused on not trying to say, I'm the woman, look at me. It's, I'm a woman and I deserve to be here too.
Awesome. And I would guess, I'm sidebarring again here, but you talked about being brought to the work environment by your dad when you were very young.
Yes.
So that might have had a role in you, even at an earlier age, maybe having the confidence to show up in the workplace.
I would say so. My dad is probably the greatest mentor I've ever had. He taught me to believe in myself. He taught me to be able to take feedback and criticism. Sometimes it was harder coming from a parent than otherwise, but yes, he really did. He always said, he'd literally say, you belong here, and I believed it.
Wow, belonging. Yeah, we were big on that at Oakland University.
Yeah.
So very impactful and very powerful, especially from an early age. You've said empathy and emotional connection are strengths women naturally bring to finance, and especially your area of finance. How have those traits maybe shaped your approach to your client relationships?
Sure. And I think any gender is wonderful at empathy and whatnot. But as a woman, we love the gift of gab and talking and chatting and listening. So me personally, I like to listen, not listen to respond, but listen to understand. And so I think that is a very special trait that a lot of women, especially men as well, but women especially can show with folks. And the ability to not just empathize, but demonstrate in being comfortable enough to empathize. There are times where I've had a client whose husband passed away, and I'll cry with her, no shame. Or somebody just had a baby, and we can give them a great big hug. And again, that's all about connection, the human connection. A computer can't hug, but I can. And I think clients know that is a place that they can do that with not just me, but with my team.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. If we shift gears another time here, we're going down the road. Let's talk about preparing students for success, right?
Oh, yes.
Career and life design, we're all about that. You met many OU students in the most recent career fair and other events recently. Are there some things that stood out to you the most in meeting some Golden Grizzlies?
So many things. So from the very first OU student that I've hired, it has become abundantly clear that what you guys do for your students is you prepare them for the real world. It's not just about what they're learning in class, but how they can actually apply it. So how they present themselves in an interview, even their handshake. The way that I've invited several OU students to some of our events, and I was emailing you and Dr. Pierce about that, the way that they're dressing, social currency is very important in our world. And they just have this understanding of what it's going to take to be successful when they graduate. And they also understand that their presence, how they present is very, very important.
Okay, excellent. Now, on that topic of social currency, from a strong handshake profile, let's say, to professional attire, as you touched on, what would you say are your top tips for students getting ready to meet employers?
Sure. So for anybody that doesn't know, social currency is basically how you literally present yourself and the impression. First impressions are everything. So I would say dressing as professionally as possible. In the business world, it's very hard to be overdressed. And I think that's one of the number one things that I would tell a student getting ready to graduate to go on their first interview or start their first job. If you want to be the only one in the office in an amazing suit and tie with a pocket square, do it. And if you feel like it and want to, you can never be overdressed. A good handshake is really, really important. And making sure that you have the same handshake no matter who you're shaking your hand with. And so you want to make sure that you're kind of locking your thumbs, have a good grip, not too hard, and definitely not the little fingertip shake. I would say that's huge. A quality resume. We can tell, I look at tons of resumes when somebody has an AI-only resume or it's something that they just kind of threw together. Having a really quality resume that has your personality in it is great. That's going to make it stand out from somebody else who just popped a couple things in and printed it off.
Yeah, I've heard a lot from employers that they're seeing some resumes that really scream AI to them, right? And
oh, yeah.
We're big on, to your point, it's got to be in your voice, and you can use some AI tools for some structure or outline or ideas, but at the end of the day, it's your chance to tell your story, and only you can do that best. So.
And this is a strange little tip, but if you use a different kind of paper, that will also make your resume stand out from a big stack of them. And so whether it's a little bit thicker or a little bit textured or the satin, it seems silly, but it really does make it stand out and shows that you put more thought into it than just somebody who spit something into AI.
I like that. That's similar to me when I get like a handwritten card from somebody,
yes.
An employer that I've met with or a student that we helped or something like that. That nice paper card or a better weight paper for the resume. To your point, it's a standout in its own way. So
it is.
Well, thank you for those tips.
Yes. Another tip, last one. When you do meet with a potential employer or just somebody that you're potentially looking at and pursuing in that career, the follow-up email or note after, whether it's handwritten or an email, is so much appreciated and also makes you stand out. And don't wait for somebody to reach out to you. be bold. The very first employee I brought on from OU came after me. And she was very, very persistent in a very polite way. And I was literally ready to hire somebody else. And I was so impressed. I'm like, nope, I got to go with this. You're not going to offend an employer by being persistent.
So how about this one? For students who want to make a memorable impression at networking events and interviews, what about just one small habit that could make a big difference there?
One small habit. Well, I probably have a couple things. Have a pop of color someplace that'll help you stand out. Have a good handshake, and make sure that you're ready with a resume and a smile.
All right. I like that. Thank you. Now we're getting into basically reflection of this podcast we've done here. Finally, if you could give one piece of advice to your college-age self, looking back, or as let's say to a student who may be listening right now, what would that be?
Ask lots of questions. Ask so many questions, because there are so many amazing human beings around you, whether they're fellow students, faculty, business owners, family members, that are going to be able to impart wisdom on you that you wouldn't naturally get yourself. So I ask a lot of questions. I wish I would have asked a lot more.
I love that. I agree with you. I think people naturally want to be helping other people, right? Especially adults that are into their career, and you've got young talent coming up. You want to hear from early talent, right? And you want to hear those questions, and you want to help them along the way. So I love that. So thank you.
Especially in interviews, too. That would be another tip that I have. Come prepared with lots of questions for an interview. Interviewers love that, because it shows that you're engaged, and then it will help you determine as well as a student, is this really where you want your career to go, or is this the company that's the right cultural fit for you, and what can you learn? And because a career is not just about what you bring to a company, but also what that employment can bring to you.
And not those mundane work hour questions,
right,
or do we have to work on the weekend, but
right,
more thoughtful questions, right?
Exactly.
About career path perhaps, or maybe about their own journey in the company.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and your insight with us, Megan.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
And thank you to all you viewers and listeners out there in podcast land for this episode of Journey Mappers Podcast. We will see you next time.